back in its rightful place as the progenitor of heavy metal.
We hear things about this amazing band out of England.
He was like our window into the rest of the world. He was like our window into true greatness.
Well, I can't believe it's taken on 50 years to see the light of day, this record. This sort of mythical album. It's taken on sort of classic album status.
And they just totally blew my mind. I'd never heard anything like them.
It may not sound heavy metal, but that's what started it all off, not Tony Iommi. Sorry, mate.
I love those guys.
Jazz Sabbath was like our White Album. Milton was our Beatles.
Art is either revolution or plagiarism. How true those words are.
Well, in case you don't know, I was in Black Sabbath.
I don't think music would be what it is today without jazz.
One of my friends had a friend who had a friend who had a friend who had a friend in London, and he would go to every gig that Milton played, and he would secretly record it. He'd send us the tapes. We'd get together in a room, and we'd just listen and listen and listen, memorizing every line, every passage, document what the differences were from this show to that show. I mean, we literally memorized it, because even the mistakes that he made were far better than any of us ever could have hoped to have dreamed for.
We tried to sign them, but they just weren't interested. So we signed Black Sabbath instead.
I heard rumors that there was an album, but nobody knew for sure. I think everybody thought, probably a few people hoped, that they were all dead.
I've always been into jazz, and when I was younger, Jazz Sabbath were one of the first bands I ever saw.
My grandparents said it was the best live band they've ever seen.
When I was younger, I would hear all these bootleg recordings of Milton playing in the London jazz clubs.
It really got me into jazz, mainly because I thought, I can do better than this shit.
I never really got into jazz as I always preferred music that had a melody.
It was so loud. You know, I mean, we were loud. We had three kinds of loud. We had super loud, mega loud, and a hospital loud. But they were just on a different level.
Now, without Milton Keynes, there might not be a piano.
I thought he died. I read a thing from him. Not since the 60s.
One of the friends of a friend would send us like this British magazine, maybe it was New Music Express or something like that. And that was our biggest insight into what was going on in the life of Milton Keynes. And he wasn't in every issue, but even if it was a little blurb at the bottom, we would just let it flip till we found that blurb and we just read it over and over again.
So it must have been pretty frustrating for Milton to realise that he could have been one of the founders of metal music today.
Well, I was never really a fan of jazz music. I mean, like most people, I sort of thought jazz was a kind of unfortunate mistake.
Perhaps he's a genius, whose musical fingerprint on the fabric of history itself has been wiped off before it had begun. Or maybe a fraud who's blatant enough to challenge the very entertainment industry that he claims robbed him of his stardom. Up to you to decide.